All right, picture this. You're vibing with someone new, friend, date, co-worker, and everything seems great. But then, bam! They pull a move so shady, you feel like you're starring in a reality show called Red Flags and Regrets. Been there? Same. Today, we're diving into ways to see someone's true character, because actions speak louder than words, and sometimes they scream. Trust me, this list will have you questioning everyone, including yourself. Let's get into it, and buckle up because the tea's about to get hot. 1. Watch how they treat service workers. All right, I'm gonna hit you with a truth bomb. The way someone treats service workers is like a cheat code for understanding their true character. And yeah, I know some of you are thinking, but what if they were just having a bad day? Let me tell you something. Having a bad day doesn't give you the green light to treat someone like they're beneath you. If anything, it shows even more about who you really are. I mean, think about it. Service workers are out here hustling, often dealing with the worst of humanity for minimum wage, and maybe some tips if they're lucky. They're working long hours, often in thankless jobs, just to pay rent or feed their families. And then someone decides to play the role of God of the Panera bread line because their avocado toast came out wrong? Nah, not on my watch. I once worked at a coffee shop during college. Shout out to my barista warriors out there. And let me tell you, it was wild. One time, this woman came in and ordered a latte with almond milk, extra foam and a drizzle of caramel on top. Simple enough, right? But when I handed it to her, she looked at me like I'd just committed a crime. She snapped, "I said light foam. Do you even listen?" "Ma'am, your $4 latte isn't the Mona Lisa. Relax." But you know what stuck with me? It wasn't just how rude she was. It was the fact that her little tantrum wasn't about the foam. It was about her needing to feel superior to someone. And I just happened to be wearing an apron that day. That's the thing. People like that don't see service workers as equals. They see them as props in their personal drama. And here's the kicker. If they're willing to treat someone they don't know like dirt just because they can, what makes you think they won't do the same to you when the shine wears off your friendship or relationship? Newsflash, they will. The only difference is you won't be able to return to sender like a wrong latte. Now, let me flip this around for a second. I once had a customer come in during the holiday rush. It was chaos, lines out the door, people breathing down my neck. This guy ordered his coffee and then noticed I looked stressed. He smiled and said, "Hey, take your time. You're doing a great job." You know what happened? I nearly cried. Not because of his words exactly, but because in that moment he chose to see me as a person, not just someone handing him caffeine. That's what character looks like. It's not about being nice when it's easy or convenient. It's about being kind even when there's no benefit to you. And I'll say this, people who can't find kindness for service workers aren't just showing you who they are, they're showing you who they think they are. And honestly, their ego is writing checks their character can't cash. So next time you're with someone, whether it's a friend, a date, or even your boss, pay close attention to how they treat the barista, the server, or the delivery driver. Do they say please, thank you? Do they acknowledge the person exists, or do they just bark out orders like they're at some invisible drive-through? Because here's the tea. You can fake charm, you can fake manners in front of the people you want to impress, but how you treat the people you think don't matter. That's the real you. And if the real them is snapping fingers and rolling eyes, you've got your answer. And honestly, don't even waste your time trying to fix it. You're not their therapist, and you're not here to teach them basic decency. Cut your losses and don't forget to tip the server on your way out, for having to deal with them. It's not just coffee we're serving today. It's justice, one red flag at a time. All right, on to the next. 2. How they treat animals. Let's talk about animals for a second, because how someone treats animals is like peeking straight into their soul. And I know, it's not a perfect measure of character, but let's be real. If someone can't show compassion to a creature that literally just wants food, belly rubs, or a quiet corner to nap in, what does that say about them? Spoiler, nothing good. Now, here comes the controversial part. I'm going to say it. If someone doesn't like animals, or worse, actively mistreats them, it's not just a preference, it's a red flag the size of Texas. I get it. Not everyone wants a house full of pets or to be chased by a golden retriever every time they go for a jog. Fine. But there's a difference between not owning pets and kicking the neighbor's cat off your porch because you don't like it near your car. Yeah, that happened. And let me tell you, the dude who did that, total sociopath vibes. If you think that's a stretch, stay with me. Here's the thing. Animals are innocent. They don't care about your status, your income, or your 401k. They're pure, and their whole existence is about survival and connection. If someone can look at an animal and see it as nothing more than a nuisance or something to control, it's a reflection of how they approach the world. No empathy, no understanding, no patience. You think they're going to treat you better? Spoiler, nope. I mean, let's look at some extreme examples, shall we? Serial killers. Yep, we're going there. A ton of them started by hurting animals. Coincidence? I don't think so. Now, am I saying your friend who accidentally steps on snails in the garden is the next Ted Bundy? Probably not, but it does make you wonder, doesn't it? Okay, real talk. I used to have this friend, let's call him Mike. Mike always acted super chill, but one day we were at a barbecue and someone's dog kept coming around. Mike jokingly nudged it away with his foot. Then he did it again, harder, and laughed like it was hilarious. The dog yelped. Everyone froze. And you know what Mike said? "Oh, it's just a dog, relax." Just a dog? Nah, Mike, it's just a glimpse of the fact that you're low-key heartless. Needless to say, Mike and I aren't friends anymore. Not because of the dog thing alone, but that moment was like a neon sign that said, this guy lacks basic empathy. And sure enough, his behavior in other areas started to add up. Moral of the story: the way people treat animals is rarely an isolated thing. It reflects deeper parts of their personality. On the flip side, let's talk about the good ones, the people who go out of their way for animals. I once dated someone who rescued a stray cat on our second date. We were walking back from dinner, and he stopped in the middle of the sidewalk to coax this scared little cat out from under a dumpster. He didn't just walk past or say, "Oh, poor thing." Nope, he scooped it up, took it to a vet the next day, and found it a home. Now that's character. See, showing kindness to animals doesn't just mean you like dogs or have 12 cats. It means you recognize the value of life, no matter how small or insignificant it might seem to someone else. It shows you can step outside of your own needs and care for something that can't give you anything in return, except maybe a wagging tail or a purr. And honestly, that's kind of beautiful, isn't it? So here's the test. If you want to know someone's true character, take them around animals. Watch how they interact. Are they gentle? Patient? Do they light up when they see a dog or try to shoo it away? And for the love of everything good, if they say something like, "I hate animals," don't ignore it. That's not a cute quirk. It's a red flag. Because if they can't show love to a creature that's pure and unselfish, what's left for the rest of us? And hey, if someone rescues a stray or spends 20 minutes baby talking to your dog, give them bonus points. They might just be a keeper. All right, on to the next one, because we're just getting started and the tea isn't cooling down anytime soon. 3. How they react to other people's success. All right, let's dive into one of the juiciest indicators of someone's true character: how they react when other people win. Because let's be real, it's easy to smile when you're the one getting the promotion, the dream vacation, or the shiny new car. But when it's your friend, co-worker, or even that random girl from high school posting her engagement ring on Instagram, that's when the mask slips. And oh, does it slip? Here's where it gets spicy. Not everyone can genuinely celebrate someone else's success. Some people will clap for you in public, but behind the scenes, they're rolling their eyes so hard you can hear it. And let's be honest, who hasn't encountered the "oh, good for you" energy that's faker than a reality TV love triangle? It's giving jealousy, insecurity, and maybe even a touch of bitterness. Yikes. And before you come for me, let me say this: jealousy is human. We've all felt that twinge of envy when someone else's glow-up makes our own life feel a little meh. But the key is how you handle it. Do you let it inspire you to work harder, or do you let it fester and turn into backhanded compliments and side-eye emojis? Let me tell you a personal story. A few years ago, one of my closest friends got this amazing job opportunity, like dream-level stuff. She called me, super excited, and while I was thrilled for her, a little voice in the back of my head whispered, "Why not me?" I felt it. But instead of letting that little monster take over, I made a choice. I threw her a celebratory dinner, hyped her up to anyone who would listen, and made sure she knew how proud I was. You know why? Because her success didn't take away from mine. Her win wasn't my loss. But not everyone sees it that way. I've had friends who couldn't hide their envy when it was my turn to win. One time I got promoted at work, and when I told a co-worker I thought was a friend, her response was, "Wow, must be nice to have connections." Connections? Girl, I was pulling 12-hour shifts while you were scrolling TikTok. But sure, let's pretend my hard work didn't matter, because it makes you feel better. Here's the thing. How someone reacts to your success tells you whether they see life as a competition or a collaboration. People with good character don't need you to fail so they can feel good about themselves. They understand there's enough greatness to go around. Meanwhile, those who get salty or dismissive, they're showing you their insecurity loud and clear. And trust me, that energy is contagious. You don't want it in your circle. Here's the deeper message. Other people's success isn't a mirror for your insecurities. It's a spotlight on what's possible. If you're the type of person who claps loudest for your friends when they win, you're not just supporting them, you're building a foundation for your own success. It's like saying to the universe, "I'm ready for my turn too." But if you're the one throwing shade or secretly hoping someone trips on their way to the finish line, guess what? That energy comes back around. Every time. So, here's a little test. The next time someone in your circle wins, whether it's a new job, a huge milestone, or even just a glow-up, watch how the people around them react. Do they cheer genuinely, offer help or advice? Or do they go quiet, make it about themselves, or downplay the accomplishment? If it's the latter, take note. These are the people who'll struggle to root for you when it's your turn. And do you really want that in your corner? Probably not. And hey, if you catch yourself feeling jealous, don't panic. It doesn't make you a bad person, it makes you human. Just don't let that feeling control you. Instead, use it as a wake-up call. What's missing in your life that's making you feel this way? Turn it into motivation, not resentment. That's the real power move. Because at the end of the day, there's no shortage of wins to go around. So clap for others, work on yourself, and remember, someone else's spotlight doesn't dim your shine. In fact, it just makes the whole room brighter. Now let's move on to the next way people reveal their true colors. Trust me, it only gets juicier from here. 4. How they handle no. All right, folks, buckle up because this one's about to ruffle some feathers. If you really want to know someone's true character, watch how they handle the word no. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. This applies to friends, co-workers, family, anyone. Let's be real. Everybody loves hearing yes. It's easy, it feels good, but no, that's where the real test begins. Here's the controversial take: how someone reacts to rejection, boundaries, or even just a simple disagreement can make or break how you see them. And let's just say, a lot of people fail this test. Ever had someone go from sweet to sour the moment you didn't give them what they wanted? Suddenly that charming smile turns into a guilt trip, passive-aggressive comments, or, worst case, a full-blown tantrum. It's like, wow, I said no, not, let's start a war. Let me paint you a picture. I was once friends with someone. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah was the life of the party, super fun, always planning trips and events. But one weekend I couldn't make it to her brunch because, you know, life happens. When I told her, she hit me with the classic, "Oh, okay. I guess I just won't bother inviting you next time." Excuse me. It wasn't a brunch subpoena, Sarah. Chill. That moment taught me something. People who can't handle no with grace aren't just being dramatic. They're revealing how much they value control over connection. It's not about the brunch, the date, or the favor you said no to. It's about their inability to respect boundaries without making it about them. And that's a giant red flag waving in your face like it's a parade. Let's go deeper here. When someone hears no, it's an opportunity for them to show maturity and respect. Do they accept it and move on, or do they try to manipulate, guilt, or force you to change your mind? Because here's the thing, boundaries are not negotiable, and someone's reaction to your boundaries isn't just about that moment. It's a sneak peek at how they'll treat you in the long run. Will they respect your limits, or will they keep pushing until you break? One time I was in a work meeting, and my boss, let's call him Jeff, asked me to take on a last-minute project that I just didn't have bandwidth for. I politely said, "I can't take this on right now without compromising the other deadlines." Jeff didn't like that answer. He sighed loudly, muttered something about team players, and then gave me the silent treatment for the rest of the week. Yep, a grown man giving silent treatment because I said no. Real leadership vibes, right? But here's what I realized. People who can't handle no often see it as a personal attack, not a simple boundary. And that's their problem, not yours. Because if you're constantly bending over backward to avoid someone's tantrums or guilt trips, guess what? You're not setting boundaries. You're setting yourself on fire to keep them warm. And look, I get it. Saying no is hard sometimes. You don't want to disappoint people, especially those you care about. But here's the truth. The people who truly value you will respect your no. They won't guilt you, punish you, or try to change your mind. They'll understand that boundaries are an act of love, for yourself and for the relationship. And the ones who don't, they're showing you loud and clear that they value control more than connection. Now let me flip the mirror for a second. Have you ever been the one who couldn't handle no? Be honest. I've been there. One time I asked a friend to help me move. I know, the ultimate friendship test. And when she said she couldn't, I caught myself feeling annoyed, even hurt. But then I realized her no wasn't about me. It was about her protecting her time and energy. And instead of guilt-tripping her, I checked myself and respected her choice. Growth, people. It's uncomfortable, but it's worth it. So, here's your homework. Pay attention to how the people around you react to no. Do they respect it, or do they resist it? Do they pout, guilt-trip, or try to twist your arm? And most importantly, how do you react when the tables are turned? Because handling no with grace isn't just a sign of good character, it's a sign of emotional maturity. And in this world, we need more of that. Remember, a strong no builds stronger relationships. It weeds out the people who want control and makes room for the ones who want connection. So say it loud, say it proud, and don't apologize for protecting your peace. Now let's move on to the next way people show you who they really are. Things are about to get even spicier. 5. Observe their jokes. All right, let's talk about humor, or should I say humor, because if you want to know someone's true character, you don't just listen to their jokes. You dissect them. You analyze them like you're Sherlock Holmes at a comedy club. Why? Because jokes aren't always just jokes. Sometimes they're a socially acceptable way to sneak in something a little more sinister, like judgment, insecurity, or straight-up meanness. Yeah, I said it. Now, here's the controversial take. Not every funny person is a good person. In fact, some of the funniest people can also be the most toxic. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone say something wildly offensive, then backpedal with, "Relax, it's just a joke"? Oh, okay, Dave, so your joke about my weight, my culture, or my life choices wasn't an insult. Got it. Thanks for clearing that up. But seriously, jokes are often where people hide their unfiltered thoughts. They're like little Trojan horses of truth. And if you pay attention, you can learn a lot about someone's values, biases, and even insecurities. For example, is their humor self-deprecating, or is it always aimed at someone else? Do they punch up, or do they punch down? Are they laughing with people, or at people? Because there's a big difference. Let me tell you about a guy I used to work with. We'll call him Todd. Todd was the king of office jokes, always cracking people up during meetings. But here's the thing, his jokes always had a target. And it was never someone in a position of power. It was always the interns, the new hires, or the quiet guy in the corner. One time, he made a joke about an intern's accent, and when everyone went silent, he said, "Oh, come on, it's just a joke." But it wasn't funny, it was just rude. Here's what Todd taught me. Humor can be a weapon, and people like Todd, they use it to mask their insecurities, to feel superior, or to deflect from their own flaws. But the moment someone calls them out, they hide behind the "it's just a joke" defense. Newsflash. If your joke only lands when it hurts someone else, you're not a comedian, you're a bully with a punchline. Now, on the flip side, humor can also reveal a lot of good about someone, a person who can make fun of themselves without fishing for pity. That's confidence. Someone who uses humor to uplift, connect, or ease tension. That's emotional intelligence. And those rare gems who can make a room laugh without tearing anyone down. Keep them around. They're the real MPVs. Here's the deeper message. Humor is a double-edged sword. It can be a bridge or a wall, a healer or a weapon. And how someone uses it tells you a lot about their heart. Are they spreading joy, or are they hiding bitterness? Are they creating connection, or are they fueling division? Pay attention, because the jokes people make often reveal the truths they're too afraid or too bitter to say outright. I'll be honest with you. I used to think I was funny because I could roast people. In college, I was the person who always had a snappy comeback, and I thought I was killing it. But one day, a close friend pulled me aside and said, "Hey, I know you don't mean it, but some of your jokes feel mean." At first, I was defensive. I was like, "Come on, you know I'm just kidding." But then I realized, just because I didn't mean to hurt someone doesn't mean I didn't. That conversation changed the way I see humor. Now, I try to use it to bring people together, not tear them down. So here's your homework. The next time you're around someone who loves to joke, pay attention. Are their jokes kind, clever, and inclusive? Or do they leave people feeling small, awkward, or defensive? And hey, check yourself too. Are your jokes building people up, or are they subtly cutting them down? Because humor isn't just about making people laugh, it's about showing them who you are. And listen, if someone says it's just a joke, and your gut tells you it wasn't, trust that instinct. You're not too sensitive, you're just paying attention. And that's a wrap, folks. We've officially navigated through ways to see someone's true character, and let's be honest, some of these hit a little too close to home. Whether it's how someone treats service workers, reacts to success, handles rejection,